Hello everybody, how's everybody doing? As you can tell, it's kind of like morning for me right now. I don't know if actually that's very visible, but it doesn't matter. I just wanted to go ahead and kind of like come back in and talk about some stuff. I know that there's some things that I could definitely talk about, but one thing that I think that's been particularly on my mind lately has just been the whole issue of just certain cards that have been coming out and just people like talking about them and that just people are kind of like done with them. I mean, I can understand this. I'd be done with a lot of these cards too, personally, but I haven't really experienced them all nearly as much for some as some others I have. But the thing is, it never really bugs me because cards that are really good, like that just come out, don't usually stay very good, or at least they don't stay out very long. More than anything, let me go ahead and refer to like cards like, for instance, Soul Charge. That's a fairly new card that's coming out right now, and it is basically rekindling for every deck. You just pay, well, basically, first off, you target monsters in your graveyard that you want to special summon back. You special summon them, and then if you do, you take 1,000 life points of damage for each one. So what this card lets you do basically is that you just basically target any number of monsters, and if it goes through, you get to go ahead and bring them all back for 1,000 life points each. And it pretty much just kind of like stops itself from like having any really bad side effects, honestly, because you don't take the damage until after it's resolved. So if it's stopped, then you're fine. And the only other cost is basically just losing your battle phase, which is honestly not that big of a deal for what you can get out of it. So, I mean, honestly, the card is good. Like, it is a good card. But it doesn't, cards like that usually don't last. I mean, cards like that will not make it, especially something like this. I kind of feel like this is another time when we had Sixth Sense come out. Sixth Sense was a really good card, and basically it only lasted for like half a format. And the only reason Sixth Sense even came out was just to pretty much promote one set, which was Legendary Collection Joey's World. That was really the only reason why Sixth Sense was even made a legal thing over here. Otherwise, it should just stay banned because it's a really stupid card. But yeah, there's pretty much that to think about. Like, just cards like that don't stay long. Let's go ahead and look at cards like Rekindling, for instance. Example, its basic predecessor. That got limited finally. We've got other power cards like Monster Reborn, that's banned. We've got cards like Return from a Different Dimension, that spams out all monsters to the field, that's banned. Dimension Fusion, that's banned. Cards like that just don't make it very long. So I'm not really worried about this. I mean, yeah, we're probably gonna have to like endure it until the rest of the format, or maybe until the World Championship, but no, this card's gonna get hit. Like, cards like that just are not gonna stay in the game for very long. I really think this is just a promo card, just a similar thing to Sixth Sense, pretty much. But this is not just the only card. I mean, there's a bunch of cards right now that people just complain, but this is kind of like just to explain the idea that power cards like this don't last. Like, they really don't. Of course they're powerful. They have amazing effects, but we really can't do anything with a card if it's banned. I mean, other cards that are really powerful right now, like that have been making a really big splash, have been Exciton Knight, as well as number 101, Silent Honor Arc. Those are two really good cards as well. Like, they came out from Legacy of the Valiant, and they've just completely changed a lot of the pace of the game. Exciton Knight just being able to clear the board whenever the situation's right. Like, it literally punishes your opponent when they have the advantage. So it's like literally just a turn the table around kind of card. And Honor Arc is just a really powerful card. It lets you go ahead and like solve certain problems, and you're able to go ahead and get around them, and if anything, at least he's just basically a good defender for you. He's got that Maestro effect to protect himself. I personally think Arc is fairly decent. Like, it's a little bit more balanced out of like the cards I've mentioned so far, and I really don't see a problem with this card. Maybe it might get limited, maybe people are just going to start to go ahead and like find other things to play, but otherwise, I would see this card being a staple XYZ monster. Limiting it might be the only real thing that can be done at this point about it. Exciton Knight, I hear that this card might get banned or something like that, but I just don't see it. I mean, yeah, it's a good card, but like, I just don't see why it merits a ban. And a limit would be kind of pointless because everybody only plays one, really. So, I don't know what's going to happen in this situation. Maybe it could get banned, but I really think like just it's going to be the same issue as like with everything else that happens in this game. Good cards come out, they eventually get like a reprint in this time when other cards are really good and coming out as well, and then it just pretty much becomes an outdated thing. At least that's kind of like the experience that I have with everything. I really don't see these cards really making it that far in their lifespan. And You know, it just pretty much is the same trend with everything. Like, these are just a couple of cards I'm naming because good cards are good for a reason. They're good for the time of the format that they're around, and they're going to be able to go ahead and make a big difference for what we have right now. But afterwards, once the format is done, like after we probably finish the World Championship, I'm very, very certain that Soul Charge is going to be banned or limited. Exciton Knight, I don't know if they'll ban him or not. That's going to completely surprise me if they do. Honor Arc, I don't really think anything's going to happen with him there either. In Kaiser Coliseum, cards like that, well, let me go ahead and kind of transition to this. There are certain cards that are good for certain decks. Kaiser Coliseum is one of these types of cards. Kaiser Coliseum is really good in decks that only have like 1 or 2 monsters like maximum at a time like on the board. And it's just pretty much like meant to go ahead and like shut you down for a little while. But the thing is, like, cards like that usually are very deck specific, and unless the deck is really doing well itself, then the card eventually is going to die out. The only really good deck that I've seen that uses Kaiser Coliseum is pretty much just Bujins or Noble Knights or any deck that pretty much only sits on 1 monster on the field. And to be honest, after the World Championship, I really, really doubt that Bujins are going to be like doing anything afterwards. So Kaiser Coliseum will probably still be around, people will still know that it exists, but I'm just saying that I still think that at the end of the day, the real threats are going to be like the cards that are like just inherent power cards, like cards that are just always going to be universally good, which are usually banned cards. And that's kind of like one of the reasons why I never worry about like power cards like this. Been seeing a lot of people making like videos about this, like saying like how dumb some of these cards are and like why Konami is like making such broken cards in a time when the game is like so busted. And it's really just to drive sales. I mean, that's kind of Konami's thing. They're just going to be wanting to make money at the end of the day. But they always correct the problems. At least, there's never usually been a real big issue where like we have to like sit on something like for so long, except for maybe like the Dragon Ruler format. That was like about the worst maybe, but even then that wasn't that bad honestly in terms of like the time we had to wait. But yeah, that's why I never worry about these things, and it's just kind of like, I kind of feel like I needed to say something about this because it's just I've been seeing so many different videos and so many different people talking about this stuff, like just how broken these cards are and like how much of it they're just ruining the game. I never feel like a certain card ruins the game, because even if that card is like really powerful and really busted and it does affect the game a lot in a negative direction, it usually doesn't stick around very long. It will get corrected, like it will get taken away, or it will be like eroded or hit or something, just to make sure that like the game kind of sees a little bit of balance again. But yeah, I mean, other than that, that's really all I have to say about this video. Is just broken cards are broken, but they usually will not break the game, or at least they won't ruin the game, from my experience anyways. And that's really all I have to say on this matter. Just, I kind of feel like it was needed to be said a little bit just because I've been seeing a lot of negativity lately, so I just thought I'd give a little bit of positive air and everything. So, yeah, that's all I have to say for this video, guys, and thank you for watching. This has been Jaku. Catch you guys later.